Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Forex Daily Dimes. Uh, I'll be your host today, Josh Lilquist, and we're going to cover some major topics. Again, we had some big moves in the Forex market here today. Had some news with the pound. I believe there's some Canadian news. Tomorrow we got some U.S. and Canadian news as well. Before we do that, obviously, we know there's risk in trading. You can lose money trading and investing in the financial markets. Past performance is not indicative to future results. So one of the things we do in the Forex Daily Dimes is we cover and dissect the major whole numbers in the Forex market. So for instance, we have a chart up right here, and we're starting with the euro dollar. We have a weekly chart on the right side, and a 4-hour chart, 240-minute on the left. Okay, so the theory behind this is, the institutions, they're, the big money, the smart money, they're fighting in these whole numbers, right? So we have these hesi bands. We call them, we started these the term hesi bands, hesitation bands, 250 pips around the whole numbers. So we got $1.10 right here, got $1.20 right here. Okay. Once we get a close above this $1.10 250, or sorry, $12.50, right? 250 pips above $1.10. That's where we want to go to our multi-time frame analysis and get down to the 4-hour chart, and we have a long bias now. So essentially, the buyers have won that battle, per se, but won that battle. And now they're shooting for that $1.20 mark, right? So they're going to hopefully that's the case, right? So we want to be starting to get long on our 4-hour chart. So we got 250 pip zones. So there's 4 250 pip zones in 1,000 pips. Obviously, it's simple math, right? So we're breaking that down. We'll find $1.1250, which is right here. So we finally had our weekly close here. Now we want to be long, right? So let's just see what we got going on today. We can analyze in real time what's happening on some currency pairs now that we have a background. So with this euro dollar, we are currently with a long bias. We had one stop out here. We had our close. We had our entry point right here, 1.1825, and currently long got about, I don't know, 45 pips on this, right? Shooting for that target of $1.20. Once this gets this $1.20 on this weekly chart, essentially price is going to reset. We're going to wait and let the buyers and sellers, let the big money, let them battle it out to find our momentum all the way up to the next whole number, which would be $1.30. So let's look at another pair. Let's look at the New Zealand dollar. We talked about this one yesterday. Okay. So as you can tell, we have a long bias here again. Obviously, we have a weak US dollar. The Dixie was down to down to 92, roughly 92. It was at 102, so we had a big drop in the Dixie the last couple months here. So, which is going to show this New Zealand dollar, US dollar pair with a very strong long bias right now. So we had a close above here, so we want to start being long. Currently, we had this close above 65.75 right here on this 4-hour. Missed that trade getting in, but we had a limit order to buy at 65.75, and we got roughly probably 100 and something pips on it here. And obviously that target area is 67.50, which is going to bring in some selling pressure according to our weekly chart. But essentially, once we get up here, it's going to reset on this time frame. Well, we're going to let the buyers and sellers fight it out on a smaller time frame. As we're going through here, feel free to ask questions. Um, questions on any pairs that you'd like to see. Any questions on the whole numbers, what we're talking about there. And if you're watching this recorded, feel free to leave comments in there. Give a like, a like or a dislike if you didn't like it. Comments on anything that you'd like us to cover on the next Daily Dime. So we'll look at the dollar Swiss franc. That was a request there. Got a dollar franc here. So we got our weekly chart here. So we had a pretty short bias here for quite some time, actually since December of 2019. So current price, want to be short. From 91.75. So we had this drop here. We'll make this bigger so you can see it. Move this up. Had a nice strong close here back on July 28th. Got in the trade, had some good profit. Came to this hezzy band. We had some buying pressure coming in, bringing it back up to this hezzy band. Stop is up here at 92.50. Got close within our zone, to our stop. You know, always want to follow your plan. Staying in the trade. Now we got about 68 pips on that right now. We're looking to bring that down to 90 cents even, and resetting itself on this weekly time frame. Okay. If you have any other questions, feel free to type in the chat. Let's look at the Australian New Zealand dollar. We got a trade in the zone right now. We have an opportunity here. So we had this reset here. We had a close above the dollar 1.02510. Okay, 250 pips. So we have a long bias. Currently, here's an opportunity here. We had a close here. Got into the trade there. We're just basically sitting break even here. Want to bring this one up to the as well to the $1.10 area. So a lot of these trades, if they get to target, are going to be resetting. So in the next, I'd say the next week or so, we're going to have a quiet next couple weeks if we can get to those targets, which is good. That means you got your targets. You know, not being in a trade is not a bad thing. You always want to precisely have your entry points. As you guys know, we're going to be having special guests. I think next week we're going to bring a couple guests on, talk about their different trading styles. Some of the guest caliber that we're going to have on this show is we'll be having former, I guess, current trading and investing professionals, but you know, some of the guys or gals that have been on CNBC, some of those major news stations talking about the financial markets. So we'll have some of those coming on here. Hopefully the next week or so. If not next week, will be the week after, and we'll have them on the show and talk about their style, how they got trading, started trading and investing, and then we'll start to expand a little more on multiple markets, whether it's futures. Obviously, there's currency futures. You can trade the currency market within the futures market. Pretty correlated, little less volume, but roughly the same thing. So we're going to have that in the next coming weeks here too. So just to go back at the beginning, our theme here is we're trading the whole numbers. So we have the $1.10, the $1.20. In this case here, we're at a dollar, $1.10 on the Australian New Zealand dollar, $1.20. So it's within 1,000 pip ranges. That's where we want to find our bias, whether we want to be long or short. We have bullish momentum or bearish momentum. Executions on the 4-hour charts. Okay. So once we have these 4-hour charts, that's where we want to get in on our hezzy bands, shooting for about 172 pips with a stop of about 75, roughly. And that's going to be pretty much the same thing every time. You want to have that way you can track your results and you can test, see what's working, what's not working. If there's currency pairs that aren't doing what you're hoping it to do, that's some different ways that you can test. So I hope everybody enjoyed this session. We're going to have some guests next week. Trading the whole numbers, basically calling it Forex Daily Dimes. Until the next one, retire young, my friends.